mom came out tonight. Give it up for my mom real quick. So a couple days ago, my mom was like, hey, why didn't you invite me to your show the last couple weeks? And I was explaining, so last week I talked about a kid looking at porn on my phone. Not as eloquently as Angela was singing about, but pretty close. And then I was talking about my dick. So I just figured that maybe she didn't want to come, like maybe it wasn't a good time for her to come. She agreed, and then she said, okay, so what are you going to be talking about tonight? Are you going to talk about that same stuff? And I was like, no, of course not. It's not going to be much better, but we'll work it out. So I love my parents. Like, my parents are my rock. Like, they're very helpful. They taught me a lot of stuff. I really appreciate them. Thank you. So, one thing I'm having a very hard time getting over is when my dad beat the shit out of me in kindergarten. Just by show of hands, how many people got beat when they were younger? Okay, so I'm gonna need all the white people to just put your hand back down. I've seen it. You guys either get tapped on the wrist or you get murdered. There's no in between. Yeah. So, growing up, the popular thing to watch was wrestling. And the thing that you would do is while you're watching wrestling, you would mimic the moves that you're seeing with one of your friends. So one of my friends came over and we're watching wrestling, and I didn't have a good day, so I didn't really want to participate. But he was like, hey man, come on, let's do some of the moves. And I'm like, nah bro, I'm not feeling it. And he was like, nah, come on bro, like let's do the moves. I'm like, look bro, I had a rough day of kindergarten. My crush didn't push me during recess, and we had fucking sugar cookies for a snack. Like, I'm not in a good mood. I don't want to do anything right now. So one thing about me is if you talk about my family, like, that pisses me off. And he knew that. So he was like, oh yeah? Well, your mom is a B word. I'm not censoring it because my mother's here. Like, we were 5 and 6, that's why he said B word. But I knew what he meant. He was calling my mother a bitch. So at that point, it's like, okay, bet. Like, we don't need to wrestle, I'm just gonna fuck you up. So I punched him, I was kicking him, and he started crying. So my dad's upstairs, and he hears this, and he comes downstairs. My dad's very country, by the way, like he's from the deep south. What the hell's going on in here? And so my dad puts the fear of God in me anytime he yells. Like, even now, when he yells at me, I almost piss my pants every time. So he says, what's going on here? Now, I don't have an explanation, I don't know what to say. The kid's crying, so my dad's like, what happened? He's like, oh, your son punched me. He's like, okay, why don't you just gather yourself and get an ice cream out the refrigerator and just want you to head home. Looks at me, death stare. Take your ass upstairs and I'll be there in a minute. Pissed myself on the way up the stairs. So, my dad is not one to surprise me. Like, he doesn't do surprises at all. So, when I come downstairs to get something to eat, he grabs me by my hand and gives me the most savage beating I ever took in my life. Granted, I was only in kindergarten, but that shit was real. It was with an extension cord. Yeah. He hit me so hard we might have created electricity. Like, that's how hard he was with my ass. And I'm crying at this point. He tells me, you know what, go upstairs and I'll talk to you later. So it got kind of emotional. Like, he sat next to me and he was like, look son, the reason that I beat you is because it is very difficult out here for black women. Like, black women do not have a good support system, and your mom's friend, your friend's mom, and your mom are black women trying to get by in this world. So that's why I beat you. Because I didn't want them to end their relationship because you all had a petty argument. Mind you, he didn't ask me what I did to beat this kid's ass. That never came up until the end. And he says, so what did you do? Like, why did you beat him? And I'm gonna tell him, like, I'm not gonna give him the B word situation. Like, I'm gonna tell him, like, yo, you called my mom a bitch. And my dad's like, oh, hell yeah, beat that motherfucker's ass. That's what I'm talking about. You stand up for your mother. I'm proud of you. You wanna go get some ice cream? Hell yeah, I wanna go get some ice cream. Ice cream makes everything better. Even as a child, it made everything better. Even as an adult, it makes everything better. Unless we have diabetes, then it doesn't. It makes things worse. So, yeah, like, I'm just very appreciative of the relationship I have with my parents. We cohabitate right now. That's like the friendly way of saying that they pay all the bills, and then like I'll go get cases of water. That's my contribution to the house. I've learned a couple things. Like one thing, it's almost the same as when I was in high school. Like when they go away for a couple days, it's like, yeah, I'm gonna call some girls over. Well, just one. I'm not that cool. Like just one of them. It's like, hey, like I got the free. Just slide through. And in high school, it's very easy for that to take place because you don't need anything. Like they just come over, bam, boom, boom, and then they leave. 10 years later, it's a little bit different. So I invited the same girl over, obviously, because I got lucky that one time. So I'm like, I can do this 10 years later. Like I got this. And I was like, hey, my parents are going away for a couple of days. Like slide through. I got the free. And her circumstances have changed a little bit. So when she answered, she said, yeah, nigga, like, you need to bring some fucking crab legs, okay? I don't show up at niggas' houses unless they have motherfucking crab legs. By the way, I need somewhere for you to put my 2 kids. So do you have a PlayStation or like an iPad or something? I was like, okay, bitch, first of all, you did not hear what I said. This is not even my house. Like, we're not running a fucking daycare here. Like, I'm good. No, thank you. We did have sex later, but it wasn't separate. Anyway. But yeah, like I love my parents. I love my parents so much. They put up with a lot of shit for me. Are there any parents in the room? Any parents? Word. So I have a question. How do you react when your child does like boring shit? Like they do things that they think are exciting, but they're not exciting? I had a coworker at my job. His kid came in, and he was like, "Hey, Dad, watch this." The fuck is that? What did you do? But being that he's a supportive dad, he was like, "Okay, son, so do that again, and then spin around next time." So my kid's gonna be black, just so there's no confusion. If my kid comes up to me and says it, he's like, "Hey, Dad," because his voice is gonna be that deep. "Watch this." I'm gonna say, "That's great. Now do it again and get a fucking job. Like I'm not paying for you anymore if you're doing stupid shit like this." So then I figured I'll try it on my dad. So I said, "Hey Dad, watch this." And he was like, "Okay, that's great. Now do it again and move the fuck out of my house." That's my time. Thanks for Jourdan.